Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. It is another edition of In This Very Ring right here on A2D Radio. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. I am Ritz, and joining me, as he does each and every Monday night, Tuesday morning, whatever, Mr. Pete Evans, the OGP of A2D. It is March 31st. You're watching this on April 1st, so happy April Fool's Day. And let's get into some WWE recaps and actions. Friday night, very interesting development Friday night regarding WrestleMania. WWE in their infinite wisdom decided to announce that the triple threat match between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins would close out one of the nights of WrestleMania, which we now know, following Raw in London, that it would be Saturday night, night one. So I'm kind of sitting here wondering, what does that mean for the Royal Rumble winners, Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair? Do we need to retool the wording of the Royal Rumble match? Right? Because it's always, main event WrestleMania. They punched their tickets.
Right.
Pete, where do you think we see them put, specifically, right, Jey and Gunther? Because I think of the two Royal Rumble winners, the Jey and Gunther story has a little bit more steam, especially after what we saw today. The Charlotte Tiffany thing, they kind of just, they're letting that sit and simmer.
Yeah, so Jey and Gunther really got, if for those who have watched Raw, that has now since elevated it, because now you took it from the doubt you shouldn't be here. Now Gunther has made it personal.
Mm-hmm.
He's made it personal. He's made Jey now not just for the sake of saying I want to be the world champion, not just for the sake that my name is main event Jey Uso and I haven't won that many main events, not for the sake of people in the IWC constantly saying ever since he won the Rumble, this dude don't deserve it. What has he done? He only has 5 moves. He can't wrestle. He can't do this. You can't distinguish him from his brother. I can go on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, after we seen tonight, that to me is the perfect catalyst for either night 1 or night 2. Preferably probably night 1 to get the weekend started off, get the crowd hot. And now we all, even if you weren't a fan of Jey winning, you want to see this dude get his kicked. You know what I mean? And it was kind of weird because obviously Gunther is from the EU, so he definitely has some support there, but even them, it wasn't as pro Gunther by the time the segment was over.
Let's kind of break that down, right? So Jimmy has his match with Gunther. Gunther just beats him from pillar to post. Jimmy put up a good fight. It's not wrong to say beats from pillar to post, but after a while, Gunther was just toying with him. Finally, puts him down, goes to leave, comes back, beats up on Jimmy. And Jey runs down for the save. Jey ends up getting zip tied to the ropes, which I had an issue with the zip tie.
Me too.
I have an issue with the zip tie, and we'll get to it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But Jimmy struggles to get back in the ring, ends up getting blasted by the title, which busts him open. And he bled pretty well. There was a lot of blood there.
Crimson Mask.
Yeah, and then Gunther was toying with him, had an issue with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy gets back in the ring. They're kind of toying with now Jimmy, in between Gunther and Jey. And Gunther then puts the sleeper hold back on.
Mm-hmm. After a powerbomb, puts the sleeper hold back on Jimmy. And segment kind of ends there. My issue with the zip ties, literally from everything's great. The match was great. The beatdown after was great. Jey running down and Gunther, running off was great. I thought well done. Gunther coming back and blasting the both of them, I thought was good. Maybe not necessarily needed. Maybe let Jey have the upper hand here. But then from the moment Jey gets zip tied,
everything from there for me fell off.
Okay.
Because one, we zip tied him outside the ring. You beat up on Jimmy, and then you should just leave. But then Jey climbs back in the ring. Why, I don't know. So then
because I don't think at that point it was. Now I hear you, and I have a problem with the zip ties, but probably for a different reason, which I
might be getting to them.
Okay.
To that reason, right? I don't know why Jey gets back in the ring,
right.
but he's trying to break the zip tie, right? And I didn't get a good look at the zip tie, but it wasn't like your police issue zip tie where they're the extra thick, whatever have you. It looked like 2 or 3 zip ties that they just kind of chained together.
Can you break a zip tie?
I haven't tried in a while. I mean, in all honesty, right? I haven't tried, so I don't want to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I can do it, no problem," right? But I would have to think the ropes aren't, and this is where it bugged me. We understand that the ropes aren't actual rope. Like there's some tension there. There's some steel tension.
They're actual metal. They're metal braided cords. Yeah.
Right. So you got that. Plus, you have what should be your natural strength, right? Because those ropes aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Right? In my head, Jey could have broken free. And what a pop he would have gotten.
Right.
Had he broken free.
Right.
And got his hands on Gunther. Yeah, you can still bloody Jimmy because, again, to your point you made, it elevated things. It made it more personal and added more depth, which is what we were talking about 2 weeks ago when we were on, how the story is just kind of there. Right. So very much so added that extra depth. And we kind of saw coming after Jimmy was the partner last week, but the pop you would have gotten for Jey breaking out of that bond, the shock you would have saw on Gunther's face, and then either the beatdown or just the runoff, whatever.
Right.
So that was issue one with the zip ties. Issue 2 is, and Michael Cole even called him out, you have all the producers standing over by the commentary table, not doing anything. We're letting Jimmy crawl back in the ring.
Yeah.
You're letting Gunther beat him up. Right? Yeah. There's no security now. There's no.
This is after Gunther gave a powerbomb to the dude on the steps.
Yeah. Right? Like, we've already beat up some security. Like, we don't have extra forces down there to try to break them up. And specifically break Gunther up.
Right.
And that part, the whole thing, Gunther toying him with the title, it all just took too long. Because
you're saying the time, it would just it felt drawn out. Okay.
It made it real drawn out, right? If you're not having, like, that's why I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, Jay's got to be busting out of this, right?
Yeah.
Because they were super smart with the camera angles too. There were times where you could see Jey, but you couldn't see him tethered to the rope. So
right.
All right, maybe
at times he wasn't looking. So when actually Gunther, I don't know if you caught this or not, when Gunther hit Jimmy with the title, Jey was trying to pull us up like he didn't visually see it. Because if you would have seen him get hit with the title, it's a different reaction. We all remember when Trips, when Randy did what he did to Stephanie, especially with the DDT right in front of Trips. Like, you almost felt like Trips
was going to hit his own damn off
with Steph, because as soon as her head hit the canvas, he went to his knees. At no point did you see that from Jey. I think it went from frustration to anger, went through this roller coaster of emotions. But you never saw that. At one point, I remember it was like Jey was standing up, Gunther was standing up, and Jey wasn't trying to grab or grasp to try to get at Gunther. You know what I mean? I agree with you on the standpoint of I wish he would have got out of the zip ties, but then that's when it stops. Like you said, the runoff. I didn't want to see him get his hands on Gunther, right?
Right.
And I literally just looked this up and I thought about it. Where they were at, that's why I think they use zip ties instead of handcuffs. Like, handcuffs in London and the EU are not, they're not illegal, but they are frowned upon if you just have them.
Really?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, maybe they did that because they were in London, and I went to look it up, and yes, like it's just a different vibe. If this happens in Madison Square Garden, by all means, they're handcuffed.
Well, save that spot for next week when you're in Minneapolis.
But it's like it's I don't know. It's the cap off. I mean, listen, and the crowds have been crazy, and I get it.
It's not. It's the cap off to the European tour, yes,
right?
But there was a sense and an aura tonight that this was almost they were trying to make this like the go home show,
right?
And it wasn't that, right? You still have 2 more weeks, and I know. A lot of that spawned from the Cody Cena promo, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Finally, they actually got he got his hands on him physically, like.
But there was no reason to treat this like it was the go home show, right? So if you're gonna do this, do that when you can use the handcuffs, because unless you're gonna rig the zip ties to where Jay's gonna break free. Hit him with the power bomb, lay him out, bloody him up, and walk away, Gunther.
Not even just that. Like I would have took it a step further because it's all right. It kind of, and you could kind of feel like overall the overarching production of the segment, the concept was there. I feel like both Gunther and Jey could have did a little bit more to sell it more. They definitely enhanced what the match is, because now to me the title is secondary now because of what you did to my brother. I wish at that point, once Gunther had Jey zip tied, Jimmy comes back on the apron or on the ropes, hits it with the title, comes back in. He goes out. I think he went out to get him to bring him in, and that's when he was bloody. Powerbombed him, choked him out again. At that point, I think because it was so drawn out, and I feel like the ending kind of felt a little flat. At that point, we never saw Gunther then try to attack Jey again physically at all, right?
Yeah.
Or better yet, what I would have probably called, if I was doing the production, is I would have took Jimmy's blood from Gunther. He already had it on him, wipe it off his chest and wipe it on Jey and say, this blood is on your hands.
Different. I like that too. Right? I would have been okay if Gunther would have attacked Jey and laid Jey out. Right.
Something.
And having Jey, once Jey was reaching for Jimmy, I was like, all right, this is it, because Jey's shouting, come here. Like, no, end it. Just this is uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
And not uncomfortable from he's beating him up too badly. Like, no, this just isn't good.
It went from good acting to bad acting. Still got the point across, but if they would have cut it off earlier, if they would have cut it off after even after the ring, if the bloody Jimmy, powerbomb, choke out, middle of the ring, Gunther just leave. And then you get the shot of him walking down walking down the aisle, and you get the shot of Jey reaching for his brother. Remember, they went to break and they came back. We had the shot of Cole, McAfee, and Barrett, and they're telling you what's going on in the ring.
Yeah.
They're not you know what I mean?
If you cut out the part where Gunther is toying with the title in front of Jey,
right,
then I think the segment flows a little bit better.
But you're also talking about Gunther too. Like this is the first time that we've seen this much emotional personality out of Gunther, even through his IC run.
Can I be honest with you?
Right. I don't like it.
I don't either. Right.
Yeah.
Like I thought I wanted more character depth from Gunther.
Right.
And maybe, and I don't know if maybe he just can't pull it off because he's never had to before. Right. But you can't call him the ring general. And Cole said it best. Guy's a hypocrite. You can't say the ring is sacred. You can't say all of that. Right. And then do what you just did in the ring. You do that in the back. All right, maybe. Right. Like let him be that kind of, like let the emotional war games happen outside of the ring.
Right. Like inside that ring, he should be the dude that can just out wrestle you. Like, even if you wanted to do still do the blood spot with Jimmy, cool. Powerbomb, whatever, walk out. Now, but see, they could also use this to where, and we have to see if it comes full circle, where we never seen these actions out of Gunther like this. maybe Jey has him off his game. Maybe Jey has him threatened, and then we'll obviously when they lead off night 1 or night 2, which I probably gonna be night 1, Cole will probably lean into that. Like this is Jey's making Gunther do things that he normally doesn't do.
And you said it right there. Lead off night 1. It kind of circles back to, did Jey and Charlotte as the Royal Rumble winners this year really get shafted when it comes to headlining WrestleMania?
Yes. Well, no, because like we heard what Tripp said in one of those post-show press conferences, like just because you this doesn't mean you that. Like just because we say this, but I get it. The rhetoric of if you win the Royal Rumble, you main event WrestleMania. I get it.
And that more so than like I understand what Triple H said, right? And I understand that, and that's not lost on me. But to sit there and always say is the winner of WrestleMania Royal Rumble goes on the main event WrestleMania, and have been saying that for the last 30 some odd years. You can't just change that with a press conference of Triple H saying, we say this, but we really mean that.
Right, but it's this. See, but I'm with you, but I'm kind of not at the same time because it's like neither one is. For one, Charlotte does nothing for me at all.
No,
her and Tiff thing flat. Jey got now. So I wanted to say this. So Charlotte and Tiffany haven't had that moment what we saw from Jey and Gunther yet. And they still got 2 weeks to pull it off.
They had something close where Charlotte laid out Tiffany following one of her matches.
But like I haven't seen that reaction. Like to me, it's been Charlotte is the senior, Tiffany is the freshman in high school in the upcoming next BIC, right? Next in charge. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Tiffany has never had that attachment to anyone, developed any relationships with anyone in the back to feel that. Now, here's the thing. Now this was the last stop of the tour, in the European tour. Next Monday night, they're in Minneapolis. Not only is Gable from there, that's where Tiff is from. If they were smart and they wanted to try to get that emotional heat, outside of just because this is Rhea Charlotte all over again from COVID with the NXT title. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you have a chance, maybe it's a family member of Tiff that's willing to do some work, or you could whatever. It doesn't have to be kayfabe. You can just have a plant, have something where you elevate it, right? But
yeah, but so here's a catch-22, right?
Mm.
I don't know if I want there to be a emotional element to the Tiffany Charlotte thing with a third party individual, right? You can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like not a talent related, but just
no. But even anybody. I don't think any other person. Let this just be Tiffany and Charlotte, and Charlotte literally needs to drive the point home of you're just not good enough.
Did you see? So, kind of all over the place. Did you see SmackDown Friday and that backstage session that Tiff said? I don't think she's getting enough. All right, I don't think she's getting enough credit for that. What she said is she's like, "Hey, honestly, I'm the champion, but I really have nothing to lose in Mania." She said, "If I lose to Charlotte, I'll lose to the greatest of all time, the 14-time women's champion. But if she loses to me, it goes against everything that she said." So that I haven't seen too many outlets speaking to that for like she really is the underdog with the championship.
So then let's talk about that then. Let's take this a different route, right? We always talk about how the babyface, is the underdog and the babyface should have the emotional attachment and they fight with that passion and that drive. What if this is the reverse of that? Yeah, Tiffany's still the underdog on paper, but when you think of having something to prove, who has more to prove right now, Tiffany or Charlotte?
Charlotte.
Because you haven't been around for 2 years.
Haven't been around. The last time you were there at a Mania, you lost. And my personal opinion, you should lose again. That's what I want to see. Because I don't see any inroads for Charlotte to do anything after this. Like, once you win it, like Tiff is still building, right? And I don't know if they'll do a non-finish, this, that, and the third. The wrong decision is for me for Charlotte. I guess it was right for her to win the Rumble. I don't know if you get a Becky Lynch run in or afterwards or what have you. Who knows?
I think that's what saves Charlotte right there. Is if Tiffany does drop the title to Charlotte, you have the Becky return.
But you also got the history with Tiff and Becky as well with the NXT Women's title.
Right. No, I get that, but that's where you can keep Tiff involved in eventually, and it'll eventually spawn into Tiffany getting the title back, going on to tell new stories, and Becky and Charlotte really doing something that I don't know if they've ever just done a blood feud. Right? There's always been
titles related. Yeah.
Yeah. No, let's actually just see who the better woman is.
Yeah. Well, they had that one. Was it an Evolution when they had that match? And then Becky kind of turned on her at the end of the match? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. Let me see if I can pull it up.
But no, so night 1, night 2. I mean, I feel bad. I really don't feel bad because none of those stories is bigger than Cody and Cena. And that's kind of partly the characters that are in the game, and then also the story that's being told within the game. And then the whole three-headed monster that you got with Punk, Roman, and Seth. I honestly find it hard to believe that I know what we heard tonight, right, from Cody. I can honestly see a world where Cody Cena closes night 1. And the ending book of WrestleMania is the triple threat match. Honestly, like you're having Roman work on the Saturday, and that's it.
I'm okay with Roman working Saturday. He worked both nights last year. I think if you're gonna pass on. Again, we always talk about the visuals at the end of these shows and what was the send off and different things like that. If you're not going to do the send off of 80,000 people yeeting when Jey wins the title, because that's what'll happen. Like him or not, you're going to do it because we're sheep.
Actually, no. Okay, I'm gonna let you finish your thought. I literally just had a massive thought in my head.
Right, if you're not going to go that route and give us that ending, right? Then you have to have something huge be happening in that triple threat. Because if that triple threat just ends and something like Heyman doesn't turn on Roman, right? If there's not something like that at the end of that match, why did that match close out the show? Like, what's the note? What do we walk away from it?
Right.
You're
saying close out if it closes out night 2, but
night 1 or night 2 at that point, right? Let's assume
that
it doesn't.
There has to be something on the cliffhanger that's going to create some ruffle.
Exactly, and you can't close out the weekend with it, right? Because I don't think that the Cody and John thing, especially after tonight, it has so much more weight to it, and there's so much ripple effect that will happen.
That's a change. That's a changing of the guard.
Yeah, and whether if
Cody
wins,
world champion was me. God,
yeah.
God.
If Cody wins,
right,
then everybody's questioning. All right, well, what's next for John Cena and his retirement tour? Is Cena really going to just walk away? If Cena wins, oh my God, he won. He said he's leaving. What's next for the title? Right. We're asking those questions as the show's going off the air, especially if we see The Rock. If we don't see The Rock until any point up until then, right? Or if Cody does turn heel and side with them, or whatever far-fetched bullshit, WWE comes up with.
I think it's going to be correct. I think it's going to be run-ins like we saw last year.
which I'm cool with too.
I mean, I even may think you may see it. You may see a Nature Boy, not a run-in, but you may see Nate.
Don't
Bro,
put
because
that out
it was
there.
somebody. It was somebody. Didn't Cena call him out?
Cena, in a weird way, mentioned him.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like somebody brought him up. I knew somebody brought him up, but there's more story to be told if Cena wins. Because then you get Orton, Cena, and whatever. From there. That's what I think is going to happen. And I just had this thought. I would not be surprised if Jey doesn't win.
And I've toyed with that.
Who's the three people on who the four talents right now that are on Raw?
What do you mean?
Punk, Roman, Jey, Gunther. Punk said, "This is not the favor I asked for."
Yeah.
Remember, Gunther just took out Jimmy. What if you lay out Jey the same way? Who has to come make the save at this point?
Roman,
whatever. Somehow, some way, Punk cashes in his favor. We get Roman Punk at SummerSlam.
And here's a big stretch. What if the favor is he had Paul go to Gunther to get Gunther to lay out the Usos, to get Gunther to lay out Roman, right? And that's the long-term favor, is laying out the bloodline so there's no one in his way.
Could be. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, how much longer can we go without Roman having a strap? It's been almost a year now. And I forgot that he was on Raw.
Well, because of what they're doing with SmackDown right now, and I think because you went the route, and it's smart. It's in my eyes, it's really smart. You went the route of Cena, Cody on Raw. So what do you have for SmackDown? Right, because you don't have anything going on over there. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, 100%, 1,000%.
Right? Like who's even the world champion?
Where?
Hold on.
On Raw?
No, on SmackDown.
Cody. That title is exclusive to SmackDown. So
it's the Gunther Jey. Gunther Jey. That title is exclusive to SmackDown. That's right. Fuck.
You mean Raw?
I just had a brain fart. No, I had the biggest brain fart on the absolute
I'm watching it live.
Planet. Well, because you have both main titles on Raw, right?
Well, yeah, I just think you had, because I think Cena and Cody, they wanted that story to be high, like it was flip flop.
Right, exactly. Like they wanted to be highlighted on Raw,
right? And
you want to highlight the triple threat on SmackDown,
right?
I get all that, but that's what's making me so confused right now.
Yeah, I get it.
But I think here, if I'm to book out WrestleMania of what we have right now, unfortunately, I would not put the triple threat closing out. If anything, if you're gonna have the triple threat end clean, right? Let's just say Punk wins, or Seth wins, or Roman wins, and there's nothing, like as of right now, there's nothing on the line. It's just beating the brakes off the other two. Let that open the show. What a way to kick off WrestleMania with a high-energy, star-studded match. It's unfortunate for Punk.
You can't. That's not happening now because they already said it.
I know.
If you were booking it.
If I'm booking it, if the last 72 hours hasn't happened, right, 96 hours, whatever the fuck it is, I think I start with that triple threat, and I think I stay true to myself of having Gunther and Jey close out night one, and Cody and Roman close out night two. throughout the year, it doesn't.
Cody and Cena, by the way.
Cody and Cena. Throughout the year, it doesn't bother me if the title doesn't close out the show.
Right.
But there is something that says a title should close out WrestleMania each night. Like, you shouldn't have like the triple threat match with nothing on the line shouldn't close out the night.
Right.
You know, at least the tag match last year, there were ramifications related to the next night.
Right. What was it called?
Bloodline Rules.
Yeah.
Right? Or Bloodline was banished from ringside.
Yeah.
You know, at least with that, there were ramifications. There were something was at stake. This, you have nothing at stake.
But that's been the whole lead up. That's been the whole underlying synopsis about WrestleMania 41. Compared to last year, this just ain't. It's hard to top that. Like, people feel like, and I kind of feel like Drew is in a different spot with Damian Priest. I get it. Is he above that? More or less, maybe and maybe not. You know what I mean? I kind of think you would did better if you would have actually did Seth and Drew versus Punk and Roman. To me, that creates more controversy because then you got all four dudes. You feel what I'm saying? But
it's crazy though, because I like the Damian Seth feud right now. I
like it. I like it for Damian. It's really truly to elevate Damian, right? Somehow, some way, I feel like Drew is going to be in a bigger role, bigger spotlight. I mean, by the end of the year,
gotten on my nerves for the last and I not necessarily him, right? What they've done with him.
Mm-hmm.
While I understand what they're doing, I personally have not been a fan of it, and so it makes me really have been uninterested in a lot of what he's done.
Right.
This stuff with Damian right now, and I think because it's different, it's not for the title. We're not whining and bitching about somebody who's not around. Right. It's Damian's there, and Damian's not afraid to knock his teeth down his throat.
Right. I hear you. I mean, it's weird, man. But so this promo tonight that led off Raw.
Yeah.
Classic.
I thought it, and I said it. I think I said it to you.
You said Cody cooked,
and I said it was his best promo of the entire program.
It may have been his best promo since he's been back,
possibly.
But it was still second to Cena's promo. I mean, that's
yeah. But I think Cena took a back seat here, and while Cena had some really good lines tonight, I think this is where Cody kind of, quieted everybody and was like, no. Remember, I can still do this. I can still do this on Cena's level. And this isn't just going to be a flash in the pan kind of thing. This is truly us passing the torch from one to the other.
It's crazy because Cena did it in a way where he delivered the promo just like he's delivered other promos. Didn't change anything, didn't use any profanity, anything else like that. Just really was everything he was saying was relatable. It was true.
And then Cody taking the shots that he took, Cody
almost felt like he was once again the heel because he was hitting below the belt.
When Cody brought up Vince without saying Vince, and then John fired back with, "Well, you're stealing his kid's money."
Yeah, it says I made people who you don't like billionaires, and all you did is steal from their kids.
Yeah,
when he said the last real champion, and then this is the first time he acknowledged actually taking a title. Up until this point, he hasn't even really acknowledged Cody and said Cody's name. That all changed on its head tonight.
I like that Cody brought up The Rock.
Yeah.
Right. It was something that was solely missing. Right. We weren't acknowledging that. We weren't making any reference to the fact of, and Cody pretty much said, "What did The Rock give you?"
And then The one part that I think that missed opportunity, because I feel like they had a lot of freedom. When John said, "The thought of you with this title disgusts me," Cody should have said, "This is the same person that." Well, I said, I'd have been like, "What changed in a year?" Because when I won it last year, you was in the ring celebrating with me.
You helped me win.
You see what I'm saying? You helped me win the title. So what happened in a year that now all of a sudden the thought of me disgusts you? Mm-hmm. Right?
What did I do that failed you?
Right. But you saw Cena says like, everything about this is disingenuous. This isn't you. This is why you're not happy, because you're not doing this as yourself. Which makes me think at some point that Cody is going to give into this shit and turn heel. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's like, if this isn't you, then what is? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the line, "You're too perfect, you're too," and,
right.
And the tug at the suit. And...
like when he's out and he's doing his Instagram shit, like this dude ain't wearing suits. He ain't wearing suits. He wearing track suits.
Yeah, like when I ran into him at Disney, he was in a tracksuit.
You see what I'm saying? So like, be an extension of yourself. I mean, he's still successful. Don't get me wrong. Now, I'm not knocking this shit.
But I see where you're going with this, right?
Right.
And, when you have this Cena delivering this promo and just cutting down Cody,
right?
It really makes you kind of think about, like, right, what's next for Cody after this? Let's say he does beat John, right? What's next for Cody?
Drew?
Where does he go next?
Drew,
Randy, maybe. Yeah. But that's, unfortunately, as a face, this is it.
Yeah.
Right? You have.
Yeah, you beat Cena. Like, this is.
You have the most over individual in the last 20 years saying, "I'll turn heel for you."
Yeah.
And we'll do this story together. Well, then, what the hell? Where do you go from here? The answer is you don't, right? Cena loses to Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And almost like with The Rock's help, right? Like, The Rock realizes Cena's not my champion, not who I want to be my champion. And
that's where I think Drew comes in next.
Turns on Cena, Cody aligns with The Rock after realizing, you were right. This is who I want to be. It's the champion I want to be.
Right.
You allow Cena, because he doesn't have many dates left, to start a redemption arc, apologizing to the fans, winning them back over, but, with a new understanding almost, right? And then going in, winning 17, win it in Boston. Again, I said it, at the top of the year. I said it in 2024 too. Let him win it in Boston at the end of the year. Let him retire with it, right? And move on. I think that's not the end of the world, per se. But I think that's, like, we we're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a lot of the card figured out. We have 7 matches. Only 2 officially have been announced for night 1. Right? The other 5, we have not officially said where they're going to be yet.
I thought Cody said tonight that they're closing out night 2.
I missed that.
I think he said, he said the final match of WrestleMania will determine whatever.
Okay, all right. So then fine. They're on night 2. But regardless of the fact, we still don't have a lot of the layout. I still think there are a few more matches coming. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have enough to even fill, even if you split this down the middle, I don't think you have enough to fill the 3-4 hours that you're aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it, right? So potential matches that haven't been announced yet. Probably going to have Logan Paul versus AJ Styles.
That was announced, actually. That was announced
That
an
wasn't
hour
announced.
after Raw went off the air.
So Naomi versus Jade. I don't know if that's been announced yet.
It is not.
So obviously you got the announced matches: triple threat, Cody, Cena, Jey Gunther, Paul Styles, both women's matches. Now that supposedly right now is single matches, right? So Bianca versus Io, that's 6, and then
Randy
Charlotte
Kevin
is 7. Randy Kevin, that's 8.
No, it's not. It's Randy and Kevin is 1. The triple threat is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, Cena 3. Stratton, Flair 4. Gunther, Jay 5. Belair, Sky 6. Paul Styles 7.
So if you think Naomi Jade,
yeah,
that's probably going to get the United States title defended there. 9. Probably Jacob in some fashion.
You're gonna get an Intercontinental title match, I think, between
Finn, it's gonna be a triple threat
or a Fatal 4-Way.
Right. So that's 10.
I think you see the women's.
Chelsea has to be on the show.
Yeah, I think you see the women's Intercontinental. I mean, all titles I think will end up being on the line.
So if you do all other titles, so that's both sets of tag titles, women's United States, women's Intercontinental, so that's 4 more.
And then that's 6 more if you add the Intercontinental and the United States title.
That's I included those. You're talking about 6 more, like men's and women's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, men's and women's.
So that's 13.
And then you add in the women's tag, right? Because we heard, what the fuck's her name? Maxine alluding her and Natalia. I'm kind of wanting to go after it. So, that's 14. Now you're really starting to cook with a card.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty star-studded card. Lot on the line. You would have your triple threat match. You have Logan Styles. You have Kevin Owens, Orton, and then you have Jade and Naomi. There's your singles matches. There's your I say filler, but there's your to kind of break it up a little bit, right? Those kind of matches. You're looking at between the 2 nights, anywhere from 6 to 8 matches on each night, which I think is solid. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they are going to go for 4 hours each night. You almost have to.
I think it'll be close. I think one night can be probably.
Given how much they have cut back over the year, if each night ran 4.5 hours, I'm fine, because we tout this as the Super Bowl of WWE, right? We and the Super Bowl is an all-day thing anyway. From pregame coverage to
it's like an all week.
It's an all-week thing, which WrestleMania is too.
Kind of is with the events around it.
Well, and especially this year, when you think about, like, you have SmackDown, and then, like, I think SmackDown is going to be, but I think SmackDown is going to be a normal time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, because it gives them a few hours to get over to do the Hall of Fame. But so, like, the Hall of Fame is midnight for me, 1 o'clock for you.
Mm-hmm.
We go to sleep, we wake up, Stand and Deliver, I think, is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got a couple hours after Stand and Deliver. We go into WrestleMania, go to bed, wake up, go, have all morning, but then go to WrestleMania again.
Yeah.
And then you have the Monday after.
Isn't Easter on Sunday, the 20th?
Yeah, it's Easter Sunday.
And it's also 420. So for those who know, you know.
In Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know who drew that up.
Somebody smart.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's weird because I want to see how these cards come together. I want to see what they do with the tag titles. I think you may ultimately end up getting War Raiders New Day for the World Tag Titles. And then for the WWE Tag Titles, that could be a 4-way match, 3-way match. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I wonder if we get Jacob versus Solo. I don't know if they can do that in 2 weeks though.
I would almost see Jacob and Solo are somehow involved in the U.S. title match.
But they just had that, right? You talking about a separate U.S. So what would you do with LA Knight then? Who else would be the next challenger? So because him and Strowman didn't have a finish, they run that back at Mania?
You do all four again at Mania.
So you just have a fatal four-way.
Yep. And in that match,
right,
one costs the other, and then you can build that feud. Because unfortunately, Solo has really fallen off.
Yeah, it's just always when you're that hot, when you work a program that long with the top guys, you got to have a cooling off period, right? Like
there's cooling off, but he and then he kept going, right? And then it was almost like he lost to Ulafala, and then you just dipped him in liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know
because here's what I think killed Solo Sikoa.
Right.
He lost to Ulafala, and without really saying anything, his bloodline said, "Peace, we're out."
Right, which is weird because I'm surprised Tom was riding back with him and that's his right hand man. So I'm curious to see that. I wonder if I don't know how close he is to coming back, but maybe just some prizes at Mania, like a Becky, maybe like a Bronson Reed, something like that. If we get a Stone Cold running, whatever's going to happen with The Rock. But I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, like anything else that we may see that isn't really planned for.
I hope that we can't come up with anything.
Right.
Because we're not going to be live this year. It's going to be the first year that, in probably 4 or 5 years where I'm not live for any part of the show. And so I actually get to sit and watch WrestleMania, and I don't have to work. Which, don't get me wrong, I love when we did the 5-hour shows. I love, because you've seen my setup that I get downstairs with all my friends and all the microphones and everything, and it's just too much. So this year, because we do the show differently anyway, it really allows for us to also talk about doing stuff differently on our end as well. But not have to work during the show and actually get to sit and enjoy it. And so I'm really wanting to have those pops, hear those reactions, and really just absolutely lose my mind for 2 days because I take the weekend off.
Okay.
Right. So just be able to sit downstairs and enjoy it as a true wrestling fan. It's long overdue for me.
Right.
And so I don't want to know what's coming. I don't want to, that's why I'm really kind of really high level, just real service level looking at all this stuff this year because I don't want to see it coming.
Yeah. I can see that.
I love the nights where I'm jacked after a pay-per-view.
Yeah. So, but man, I'm curious to see where I don't know what venue SmackDown is. I'm curious to see what the crowds are like. I think the European crowds have kind of showed us like we get spoiled over here. Didn't know Cody sing along to a song, to a theme, which I hope they give him a live entrance with Downstate this year. That would be pretty cool.
I think Punk's getting one because Cult of Living Color is performing Friday night in Vegas.
Because I know he had one 29. Yeah, he had one in 29 against Taker. Because I was watching WWE top hit list of live performances at Mania. But Trips has had two. He had one at 17.
Yeah, it was 29.
He had one at 17 with Motorhead, and then had one at 21 with Motorhead. So that's only 4 years apart. So could happen. But it's just I'm curious to see. Like I'm almost one of those guys. I want to see the set. I want to see what they're going to do with these tickets, bro.
Yeah, I am very excited. I WrestleMania Thursday. Oh, and even WrestleMania Friday, right? They have become very, very big nights because last year they did that kind of kickoff little panel, which was nice, and then they did this. They've done the set reveal the last few years, which is always good to see. And then SmackDown, because it is a true go home show, right, is has historically has been just as good as the Raw after, if not better. The Raw after WrestleMania, the Hall of Fame. I think this year, having Triple H headline and the immortal moment. Which how do you feel about that?
I would say I don't know why they said immortal moments. I don't know. I
know why they said immortal moment, because they've always said where superstars become legends and legends become immortal.
Not the biggest fan of the word. I can understand it.
Gee, I wonder why you're not the biggest fan of the word.
But I like the concept.
Are we getting away from the Warrior Award?
It seems like they're distancing themselves from it,
which is interesting.
Didn't she have a problem with it? Didn't Dana Warrior have a problem with the last recipient or something like that? Like there was a rift there.
No, I think they just had a problem with Dana Warrior.
Okay.
I had a problem with Dana Warrior.
Yeah, I can see that. But no, but tonight they said the Anything Goes matchup was a Royal Rumble 2000.
Yeah.
See, that's where I'm thinking. Okay,
Well,
if you're
no. They did that to highlight Triple H's career.
okay, I was about to say, because if you're doing a immortal moments of WrestleMania, that wasn't at WrestleMania, so that was a package to highlight him.
Correct.
His
the immortal moment
was Bret Hart and
Bret Hart Stone Cold, which I feel like is just it's gonna sound really bad, just an excuse to get Austin there.
Mm-hmm.
So
which he was already going anyway, right?
I think so, but just an excuse, like not an excuse, but a way to hide the fact that he's there and he is going to be on the show,
right.
And if he does get involved, whatever have you, because I think they do the Hall of Fame stuff the second night.
When they bring him out.
Yeah,
I think so. They bring him out. I mean, that's where you'll know real quick if we're going to see if he's going to get involved in the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they kind of did it cold with Taker and Rock last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Taker found out while he was there.
Right. So, I mean, I wouldn't leave it to him to be spontaneous again,
Right. But I'm excited for WrestleMania. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'm not over the moon, amped, jacked up like I've been in years past. I think I'm more excited just for the fact that I get to sit and just watch it. I actually might be doing something fun on the 19th for it on WrestleMania Saturday.
Okay.
I'm still waiting to hear the details of this, but a friend of mine, she's a manager at a local restaurant. She's the bar manager there.
Mm-hmm.
And she got a reservation, and then the request was they want to watch WrestleMania there. It's for someone's birthday or whatever have you. And so I told her, I was like, look, I'll give you my Peacock login. And she's like, well, I don't know if we can put the sound on the overhead. I was like, put us outside, because they got like a little like shaded area outside. Put us outside. I'll bring a speaker, right? We'll make it work. So I might be going there to watch it. I don't know yet, which would be fun too. But I'm definitely excited to just sit and watch this year.
Okay. Me and I am. It's just a lot going on with it being Easter.
Yeah.
And 420, and I think my sister wants to have dinner, and I'm like, listen, I will eat this food, and smoke a little something. Thank you, Jesus. I need to go back and go watch.
Yeah, like I priorities.
You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see like this guy, and what really gets me is the talent who never performed on that big of a stage. So to see Penta's reaction when he comes out, because he's going to be on the card. To see Braun's reaction when he comes out, because this is going to be his first Mania. So like this is a lot of talents. First, is this Tiffany's first Mania?
I don't think she was on the card last year. Let me look.
So it'll be trying to think who else.
All right, so no.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah, she was not on the card last year.
Okay. I wonder if they'll find a way to try to get Phoenix on the card. He's debuting this Friday. I mean, it's only 2 weeks, but
which is weird that he's debuting on SmackDown.
Well, and it's to me, it's weirder that he's debuting on before Mania.
Yeah, I would have held that for the Raw after WrestleMania.
Because then they got
personally,
Alistair trying to come on SmackDown as well. I think Alistair's going to be on SmackDown as well. He's being rumored for 425, the SmackDown after Mania,
which I'm here for.
So I'm curious to see where they're going to like tag titles wise. New Day, War Raiders. But I don't know what they're going to do with the Profits. The Profits is be pretty deadly in their home country. So
I love the Profits as the tag champs right now. I think you let the Profits retain no matter what happens. I think they retain at WrestleMania. You don't take the title off of them. I think if anything, the War Raiders are dropping to the New Day, which you need because the New Day stuff's getting kind of stale and old.
Yeah, but they needed. Remember, we talked about this when they did this. They were committed to it. Now you need to just have them win.
Correct.
Need to have them win.
Correct. I think you see Liv and Raquel drop the titles. I think coming, and I'll make a bold prediction right now. I think, with the exception of Chelsea Green, sentence I never thought I'd say, the Street Profits, and maybe, and this is a stretch, maybe EO. I think every other title changes hands coming out of WrestleMania.
Well, I think Bianca loses, but I don't think she loses because of her own hand. I think she'll lose because of some interference from Naomi, and that may carry over from Jade.
And that's why I could see that match being night 1.
Yeah.
And then Bianca inserting herself into the match on night 2.
Yeah, and I think it's going to end up with Bianca and Naomi stomping Jade out.
Yeah.
Literally. I think we get some returns like we talked about. I think we get a Becky return. I think we may get a Bronson Reed return. And I think we get a new Intercontinental Champion for both men and women.
Yeah. Something's going to happen in the match against Bayley next week where I don't know, because you have Raquel in the wings, but then Raquel has the women's tag title to live. Something's got to give, but I don't know. All right. I got nothing else. Mr. Evans, do you have anything else for us, good sir?
Curious to see how the Stand and Deliver card's going to get built. So tune in to
NXT. Need to start keeping our eye on that, definitely, for sure. I'm so lost on NXT right now. I don't not from a sense of like I don't watch it. It's just I've missed some stuff. So I'm like, wait a minute, why are we here?
Yes. Definitely get yourself caught up. I think Oba's ready for the main roster already, dude. This dude is 26 years old, work rate. This needs to get better on the mic. That's all.
Yeah, for sure.
But
all right, fam.
I have nothing else.
Until next time, peace, love, and joy. We are out of here.